Hey y'all, it's Jen Geller from Geller Law. I'm here to talk to you today about how court works and what to be prepared for your court hearing. No matter what type of court hearing it is, I want to be sure that you're prepared. So whether one of you are my current clients or a potential client, I'm going to walk you through a quick 5-minute video to walk you through what to expect and some tips. Again, I'm Jen Geller with Geller Law. I've been an attorney for almost 14 years, and I'm a prior prosecutor that did all kinds of felony cases, and I'm now doing exclusively family law here in Cherokee County. All right, so let's talk about court. First of all, let's talk about time to arrive. So if your court hearing is, let's say, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, you want to be there at 9:45 for a 10 o'clock hearing or 8:45 for a 9 o'clock hearing. Always be early and on time. Most judges, especially in Cherokee County, are prompt and on time. And if you're late and I've got to track you down, that's a problem. You don't want to be rushed and having to find a parking spot or having to find some place to sit. So be sure to look up the address in advance, whether you're going to Cherokee County Courthouse or maybe Pickens or Cobb, Lumpkin, Forsyth, wherever you're going. Be sure to look it up the night before. Make sure you've got a tank of gas the night before, and be sure you know where you're going to park when you get there. If you're going to Cherokee County Courthouse, there's always free parking. There's a parking lot and a parking deck. Most places in North Georgia also always have free parking. There's Cobb County Courthouse. You do have to pay to park, but be sure you know where you're parking and be sure to be early. Let's talk next about what to wear. So attire for court, I always tell my clients you need to be dressed for like you're going to a funeral or going to church. And when I say church, I mean a little bit on the dressy side. I like to say no jeans, no ratty t-shirts, no t-shirts that say something inappropriate on them. For females, nothing super short, nothing with your boobs hanging out. I prefer you cover your shoulders, no super large, like skanky looking heels. So some examples of what to wear for men, I always suggest dark pants or slacks, navy, black, khaki's okay. I always suggest a long sleeve button-up shirt. It always looks most appropriate. You don't have to wear a tie and a blazer. You don't have to wear one at all as long as your shirt is nice. Be sure it's ironed and you're looking sharp. First impressions mean everything in the courtroom. If you're gonna wear a tie, that's fine. You don't have to though. For men, I wanna be sure that your shoes look nice, your pants and your shirt are all pressed and you look very appropriate. For females, you can definitely wear a dress if you want to, but I don't want it to be too short. In the cold winter months, you might wanna wear like a sweater dress and be sure to put on some tights and some boots. But again, I don't want it to look real skanky like you're just coming out of the club, okay? You could also wear black pants with some nice heels. You could also wear flats. Please wear closed-toed. You could wear a nice blouse or a nice sweater. You don't have to wear a blazer like I'm wearing, but something that looks kind of business casual. I always tell everybody, dress the part, dress appropriately, because first impressions definitely matter. Okay, so let's talk about being in court. When you're in court, the judges are basically like kings and queens. You want to be respectful, you want to use manners, you want to say yes ma'am and no ma'am when answering any of your questions. If the judge speaks to you for some reason, you always want to say yes your honor or no your honor. You want to be on your best behavior. This is the South, be on your best Southern manners. So let's talk about what the courtroom looks like and where you're going to sit and what to expect. So there are 2 tables in a courtroom and it looks a lot like what you see on TV. The 2 tables are for the 2 attorneys and the clients to sit at. You and the other person, whether it's your ex-spouse or maybe it's your current spouse and you're going through a divorce, you will not be speaking to one another. The attorneys are the ones that speak, and court is set up with question, answer, question, answer. The judge sits at the front in front of the 2 tables. The judge's bench is always raised up, just like what you see on TV. And then there's a witness stand that's typically pretty close to where the judges sit. That's where the person will speak to give testimony and information to share with the judge. In front of the judge's bench is a court reporter. Most court reporters either type out or they might have a mask that kind of goes over their mouth so that they can speak in and tell everybody basically everything that's going on in the courtroom. They write it down or speak into it and it makes a record. You know how people always say for the record? Well, that woman, the court reporter, she's the record and she's making the record. All right, so next to the court reporter and the judge, there's always going to be a couple deputies as well as staff members from the clerk's office. You always want them to be your friends. They're super helpful to make sure that the courtroom is running smoothly. They are like the judge's right-hand man, right-hand woman. They're there to make sure that the order in the court goes smoothly. Any paperwork for the judge is handed to the judge if needed, and the deputies are there for safety reasons just to make sure that things go smoothly. okay? You will sit with me if you're my potential client or my current client. You'll sit with me at a table, and I'll tell you where to sit, and then the other attorney will sit with the other client at the other table. When it's actually your turn, I will tell you what we're going to be asking. I'll prep you in advance about what kind of questions that we're going to go through and what to expect from the opposing counsel. I do like to say before the court hearing gets started, pack your patience. Court days are typically long. There's oftentimes a lot of waiting. There's almost always Wi-Fi at every single courthouse I've been at. So bring an iPad, you can bring a laptop, you can bring a book, you can bring friends with you if you want to. Just be sure to check with me in advance to make sure that those people are appropriate. But definitely bring something to occupy your time and your mind, because when you're sitting around, it can be a long day waiting for your turn, for your case to start. All right, so when we're actually in the court hearing, there's a plaintiff and a defendant. Plaintiff goes first. That person will call witnesses to the witness stand and ask questions. So if you're the plaintiff or the defendant, you'll come up to the witness stand. You will raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? You'll say yes. And now I'm going to give you some tips about answering questions when you're actually on the witness stand. So when you're on the witness stand, you're always going to be honest. And you always want to be cool, calm, and collected. You never want to act out of control. You never want to act snippy or disrespectful, because the judge is not only watching what you're wearing and how you look and how you present yourself, but also how you speak. So if you are just rambling on and on, or you're being disrespectful, or you're snappy at the attorney, those are things that matter, and then the judge takes into account. So when the questions are being asked of you, listen to the question. You can take a minute to make sure you understand it and then reply. And again, those manners matter. I will again prep you on what type of questions to expect. This is kind of a general overview of what to expect in the courtroom. When questions are asked, and once you're finished, you'll come back and sit down in your seat. Same thing for the other party. And then other witnesses can be called too. If you're going through a temporary hearing, only one additional witness is allowed. If you're going through other court hearings, then typically the judge will allow almost unlimited witnesses, but the judge also can limit how many witnesses are allowed in the court proceeding. So when you're finished, both plaintiff and defendant get to present their side. I'll get to ask questions of all of the witnesses as well as the other counsel. And then you'll come back and sit down, and the judge will make a decision at the end of the hearing. In rare cases, sometimes judges will say, I'm going to take my decision under advisement, which means that I'm going to think about it and let you know my answer in writing, maybe in a week or two. So if that's the case, the judge will let us know, and then we'll be excused. However, most judges, especially in North Georgia, I've noticed, will give you an immediate answer to whatever we're in court for. And so you will sit quietly, you will sit next to me, you will not speak out loud. Again, not speak unless spoken to in court. I'll give you a notepad, you can write down anything that you want, but when the judge makes his or her decision, you're going to be calm, cool, collected, no matter what that decision is. You basically sit there in silence and let me handle any kind of questions or concerns you might have as a follow-up to the judge's decision. Okay, so that's it. That's a brief kind of 5 to 10 minute summary of court. I appreciate you watching this video. If you're my current client, I hope this helped you be a little bit more prepared. If you're a potential client watching this video, I hope you know that Geller Law's main tenet is communication. We're big on communication. We will make sure that you know what to expect about your case at all times. And this is just a little snippet of how I'll make sure that you're prepared for court. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to check us out at jengellerlaw.com.